introduce Sensei. We're very, very lucky to have her today. And I'm very, very lucky to have been able to work with her over the last, I don't know, it's I exaggerate, but it's been at least 10 years professionally and much longer than that as students. Um, she's a resident sensei at the Orange County Buddhist Church. She was born and raised in the Shin Buddhist Pure Land tradition. She was educated in Kyoto, Japan, and was a trade and finance professional. She changed career midlife and received a Ph.D. in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, Shin Buddhist Studies, and ordained at the Nishi Hongwangi in Kyoto, Japan, and is a research fellow and adjunct professor at the Institute of Buddhist Studies, IBS, in Berkeley, California. And today, she will be presenting From Despair to Awakening, Ajatasatru's Journey of Spiritual Transformation. King Ajatasatru's life was marked by guilt, suffering, and inner conflict. Through a profound encounter with Shakyamuni Buddha, he began a journey of deep reflection and spiritual transformation. Drawing from the Nirvana Sutra and Shinran's Kyogyoshinsho, this presentation explores why Shinran highlighted this story and how awakening to boundless compassion naturally leads us to live a life for the benefit of others. So thank you very much. I'm very honored and proud to introduce Sensei Mutsumi Wondra.
Hi everyone. Hi, Mutsumi Wondra. Hi, good to see you. John Sensei, thank you very much for a wonderful introduction. And John Sensei and I, and Ellen Sensei as well, we work together at the same temple for years, and we communicate very well. And I'm very, very lucky and to be fortunate to be one of that everyday Buddhist instructor. And today, as John Sensei introduced already, my title is From Despair to Awakening. I'm talking about that story of Ajatasatru. It's not a simple, ancient Buddhist tale. It's very relevant to us living in this contemporary world as well. In a way, it's a timeless story of human transformation. So I will share that my PowerPoint. All right, this is my title. Actually, I'm talking about Ajatasatru's and journey of spiritual transformation based on the Nirvana Sutra. And then why our founder Shinran liked this story so much. And then he took that and quoted this whole story in his Kyogyoshinsho. So before I jump into the story, I'll give you a little bit the information. Okay, so sort of, as you know, our school is belong to Mahayana Buddhism. And then under the Mahayana, we belong to Pure Land Buddhism. So I would say Pure Land Buddhism and Pure Land Sutras are very unique under that Mahayana Buddhism. And then basically it's reviewing and hearing the vows made by the Amida Buddha. So there are three, I pointed, larger Skavati Vyuha Sutra. This is larger sutra, in other words. It's longer, 2 volumes. And then the second one is smaller Sukhavati Sutra, is Amida Sutra. This is shorter, so we call it small. And last one is Contemplation Sutra. So just to give you a little bit background, is a larger sutra and Amida Sutra were made in India, of course. It was written in Sanskrit language. It was composed about Common Era 1st and 2nd century. Can you believe it? It's a long time ago. And then Contemplation Sutra was way back about maybe 5th century. It was written in Sanskrit, but most likely that, Central Asia. So all the sutras are written in India Sanskrit language, but it was carried and translated in China in Chinese language. So we should be aware that compared to very original version, Chinese people might have added the Chinese flavor in translation stage. So Raja Sutra is basically a nature narrative. And then also explanation of Amida and Amida's vow, and then how the Amida's vow will liberate human beings. That's volume 1. And volume 2 is talking about those means us, sentient beings, how we receive this vow, how we digest it, how do we receive it. That's the volume 2 version. And then Contemplation Sutra is purely explain the nature of human beings to be liberated. And then Amida Sutra is kind of the fusion type thing, integration of larger sutra and small Skabati Vyuha. Skabati Vyuha means the happy and peace, basically Amida Sutras. Okay, and those are the 3 very important 3 Pure Land Sutras we revere in Shinran also, very much respected. So jumping to that Nirvana Sutra, we're going to hear and I will talk about today is Nirvana Sutra is sort of like a foreshadowing of Contemplation Sutra. This Mahaparinirvana Sutra, that's a formal name. Maha means a bigger. Pari is complete Nirvana Sutra. It was composed in India and Sanskrit language about a common era 2 to 4th century before the Contemplation Sutra. So as I said, it's Chinese people like the Nirvana Sutra, and based on that, this Nirvana Sutra is composed in India. So there's a lot of essence and from the Nirvana Sutra to Contemplation Sutra. Even we say Nirvana is sort of awakened stage. There are 27 different versions of sutras. And then again is this Nirvana Sutra was translated in Chinese that happened early in the 5th century. So as I said, is Nirvana Sutra and Contemplation Sutra, very, very popular in China. Particularly, there are 3 famous Chinese translators. Is Fa Shen is a very famous Nirvana Sutra translator. And then also Dharmakasena, he translated Nirvana Sutra in Chinese in 421, the early 5th century. And then third person, Egon. So those are very famous Chinese translators. So having said that, I will like to introduce a story of Ajatasatru. This is really a human drama. So it's very, it's relevant to people living in this world as well. So you can see those are the characters. Some of the people already know the story, but Ajatasatru is a son of King Bimbasara. This is the father right here. And the mother is Queen Vaidehi, okay? And then in the center right here is a Shakyamuni Buddha. So it really happened. It's a real story, I believe, because all the things is just King Bimbasara is a king in Magadha, like a county or country within India. So, and then Devadatta is a cousin of Shakyamuni Buddha. And Dr. Jivaka is a half-brother of Ajatasatru. Half-brother means at that time, the Indian king can have more than one wife. So yeah, that's the Dr. Jivaka is half-brother of Ajatasatru. So let's dive into that, a digest version of Ajatasatru's story. Okay, So King Bimbisara in Magadha Kingdom and his wife, Queen Vaidhi, desperately wanted their child as their heir successor. They went to the fortune teller, and then fortune teller predicted that they can have a boy baby after a hermit on mountain ended his life and will be reincarnated as your baby after 3 years. So the couple was very happy, super happy, but realized that they can't wait for 3 years. So what happened is they sent a messenger and to murder the hermit. The hermit, when he died, foretold that unborn baby would one day kill his own father, King Bimbisara. Wow! So horrified by the prophecy, the king and queen struggled with what to do. See, they were super happy, and now hearing that kind of anxiety, they started worrying about. Very human-like. And then the king told the queen to deliver the baby from the top of the tower to kill their baby. Can you believe they wanted the baby so bad? Now they're going to kill the baby because the baby might, kill the father, King Bimbisara. So the baby, however, the baby safely landed on the ground between standing swords. He just injured his little finger during the fall. So even before his birth, his life was overshadowed by fear and destiny under the dark prophecy. That's the beginning of his birth. So as Ajatasatru grew older, maybe teenager, he became close to Devadatta. Devadatta approached him. The Devadatta is Shakyamuni Buddha's cousin, and he was very ambitious to take over Shakyamuni's Sangha. So Devadatta sought power and wished to replace Shakyamuni's Buddha as a leader of Sangha. So achieve his goal, he manipulated a young prince, Ajatasatru. They agreed. It was simple. They made a deal. Devadatta would illuminate the Buddha, and Ajatasatru would illuminate his father and become king. So each would gain power through violence. So I can say, we never know what human beings would do when the cause and conditions were matured. It's a very human story. So, urged on by Devadatta, Ajatasatru imprisoned his own father, and Father Bimbisara remained remarkably calm and devoted himself to recollecting the Buddha in prison. And Mother Vaidhi secretly visited the prison and hiding food inside her clothes so that King was able to eat food and was able to survive. When Ajatasatru discovered this, he prohibited her visit. Ajatasatru got so mad and to hear that and tried to kill his mother, Vaidhi. But his vassals stopped because there are no one who has killed his own mother in the Indian history. So eventually, the king died in prison. The son had became king, but he had lost his peace as recognizing what he has done. So how about Devadatta? Devadatta repeatedly attempted to kill the Shakyamuni Buddha. He hired assassins. He rolled a massive boulder down the mountain. He released a drunken elephant into the Buddha's path. Elephant attempt failed. So everything Devadatta planned to kill Shakyamuni was not successful. So Ajatasatru realized, and the realization overwhelmed him. He was no longer merely a successful king. He became a son who had murdered his own father, who loved him unconditionally. His guilt became unbearable. Feeling deep guilt and anger, or maybe regret, remorse, and self-reproach, Ajatasatru started having painful boils or sores. Some skin problems erupted over his body because of all that anxiety and guilt, remorse. So physical illness symbolized his inner suffering. No medication can heal him. Even mother applied a lot of cream for him. No wealth could comfort him. The political power could free him, from himself. Nothing helped him. None of 6 advisors was able to help him out of his agony. But Dr. Jivaka showed up. Dr. Jivaka is a half-brother of Ajatasatru. And he was a royal physician and recognized that Ajatasatru's illness was not merely physical. He advised the king, Ajatasatru, only the Shakyamuni Buddha can heal your suffering. So this was not simply a medical referral. No. So it was recognition that deepest human suffering requires spiritual healing. But, for the Ajatasatru, to him, well, Dr. Jivaka, I don't think Shakyamuni Buddha will see me because I did such a bad thing. I killed my father. I even tried to kill my mother. I'm a worst person in the world. I don't think Shakyamuni was able to see me. He is not interested in me anymore. But Jivaka said, what are you talking about? He's the only person who can liberate you. But Ajatasatru has a little doubt about it. But Ajatasatru asked Jivaka, well, Jivaka, can I get a ride with you on the same elephant? That means I don't want to fall into Avicii hell. So please hold me, and then we go to see Shakyamuni Buddha together. This is sort of the story. So when they arrive to Shakyamuni Buddha's place, okay, the Ajatasatru approached the Shakyamuni Buddha filled with fear, anxiety. And then he was expecting like a condemnation type thing. It's just it is such a bad thing, from the Shakyamuni. But instead, he encountered boundless wisdom and compassion coming from Shakyamuni Buddha. The Buddha Shakyamuni did not deny the gravity of his action, what he did, nor did he reject him either. So the first meeting with Shakyamuni Buddha and Ajatasatru, and Shakyamuni said, good sons, I say for the sake of Ajatasatru, I will not enter Nirvana. Because of you, I'm not getting into the Nirvana yet. I want to save you. I want to liberate you. And Ajatasatru referred to those possessed of blind passion, like psychological problems, right? So the Ajatasatru referred to all people, those who have yet awakened the mind aspiring for superior perfect enlightenment. The sort of Ajatasatru is a representing of the human beings. So as Ajatasatru hear this nice, very compassionate word, and he revealed that awakening maybe remains within, still possible, even for myself who has committed the grave evil. So this encounter transformed Ajatasatru's understanding of himself. His guilt became deep reflection, and his despair became hope, and his fear gave way of gratitude. And sort of, he's getting a little bit possibility of kind of bright side. He was just mourning and living in a dark place. I don't have any hope, not at all. But once he saw that Shakyamuni, he thought, I might have a little bit a hope. So Shakyamuni gave him a moon radiant love. Shakyamuni Buddha entered the samadhi of moon radiant love for the sake of Ajatasatru. There's a moonlight coming from, and then just moonlight and shining over all the sores and skin problem. And having entered the samadhi, is he cast a brilliant light. Shakyamuni gave them the Ajatasatru. All the Ajatasatru's sores healed instantly. See, all the physical problem now got cured. Now go into the inner problem, is a spiritual problems get into. And then fear of certainly falling into the Avicii hill, right? And the Ajatasatru was very, very afraid falling to the hell, particularly Avicii hill is Avicii hill is the worst place of the hell. Even hell, there's many, many kinds, but Avicii hills, constant sort of pain, agony, everything. So Buddha said, it's very interesting. Why do you think that you will suddenly fall into hell? Ajatasatru. If you have committed evil in killing your father, we Buddhas, that means plural Buddhas in Mahayana Buddhism, has two must have also. If the Buddhas have not committed evil, how can you alone have done so? I think we have to ponder on this. What does it mean? So sort of to me is this problem is not only this was not caused by Ajatasatru. There is a cause and conditions, even related with all the enlightened person, as Shakyamuni, all the Buddhas as well. To me is maybe we can reflect on this and this what's going on in the world as well. We have many wars going on, many societal problems. It's not only the country. We are all related, right? So I really think this is a very important statement that Shakyamuni shared with us. To me, is sort of mutual obligation, not only Ajatasatru, but we Buddha and all the Buddhas also related with your problem. So we have to really help you to get out of this problem together. Okay, so now Ajatasatru in spiritual is kind of like softening up, from disappear to a little bit loosen up a little bit. Now, Ajatasatru is awakening to the true and real mind with no root in his mind. This is a comment. The Eranda seed is myself. The Eranda tree is the very stinky seed. It's just, nobody wants to have it at home. But the Candana tree is more like a sandalwood. Like when you have a incense, it smells good, right? Stick incense in the temple or granulated powder. It's made of Candana tree. So now Candana tree is an interesting part in mind that has no root in my mind. So there is no such root within myself. But now I feel like it. I'm having a Kandana tree within myself. I didn't entrust myself to the Dharma and Sangha. And sort of, he was a representative of Ichantika. I'll explain to you later. But he didn't care about the Dharma. He didn't care about the Sangha. But now I'm getting to it. I'm really hearing the Dharma now. Now I meet the Shakyamuni now. I will destroy the blind passions and evil mind. This is kind of his statement. He's really sort of awakening and a deep reflection, right? And the last one is developing the mind of benefiting others. So sure enough, Ajatasatru said, even I were to dwell in Avicii Hill constantly for immeasurable purpose, even I fell into the hell, many years, eons, many years, undergoing pain and suffering for the sake of sentient beings, I would not be painful. I'm ready for that because for other people. Wow, he's really opening his mind and not only caring themselves, but now caring other people as well. I have now, even before dying, already attained the heavenly body, casting off this short life. I have gained unending life, abandoning the impermanent body. I have gained the eternal body. I will bring sentient beings to be mind aspiring for perfect enlightenment. So now he is really opening his mind and heart and starting caring. How about other people? And I want to share, and I want to share my happiness. I want to share how I got revelated. And then thinking about other people as well. I think this is very, very interesting that Ajatasatru's spiritual liberation. So I think what our founder Shinran learned from Ajatasatru's story, we have, as I explained, we have witnessed how deep reflection transforms guilt into awakening, and then even isolation into a compassion. This presentation explores Shinran's profound intention in citing this story and consider how spiritual transformation naturally unfold into a life and benefit others. So Shinran did quote this story in chapter 3, Kyogyoshinsho. And then after the story, Shinran say, there is a concerning the being who are very difficult to cure, I mean, difficult to be liberated, that the Shakyamuni has taught to the following. The Avada Sutra state that 3 kinds of people who are very hard to cure, that is, hard to be spiritually liberated. Number 1 is those who slander the great vehicle. That means a slander that Mahayana Sutras, Amida Buddha's teaching, Amida Buddha's vow, those thinking, don't respect any slander and criticize. And then number 2 is those who commit the 5 grave offenses. 5 grave offenses is sort of like one is killing, father, that's Ajatasatru did, right? He killed, eventually that his father passed away. Number 2 is kill my mother, is his mother. He didn't kill the mother, but he tried. So this really, number 2 is Ajatasatru fall into the number 2 category, right? And number 3 is a hurting and killing the arhat. Arhat is Theravada Buddhist arhat. And then shedding the blood from the Shakyamuni. That's exactly Devadatta said. So Devadatta fell into number 2. out of the 5 grave offenses. And then number 4 is those who are lack the seed of Buddhahood, as Buddha nature. We call it Ichantika. We also shouldn't forget, how about Ajatasatru's father, Bimbisara, mother, Vaidehi? Those people killed hermit, right? And then those father and mother even tried to kill Ajatasatru. So everybody fell into the 3 categories, right? So those are the people very hard to be spiritually liberated. So they don't have any luck. I'm very concerned about it. But actually, as toward the end of the Kyogyoshinsho and its 3 chapter 3, Shinran said, when those who slander the Dharma and or who abandon the seed of Buddhahood, if they turn about turn about their heart and mind, they will reach the Pure Land. I mean, they will attain the Buddhahood. There's no problem based on the 18th vow. So when I read this one, I felt very, very happy about that. There is a solution. When Shinran said, even the people who made a commitment is to committing the 5 grave offenses, if they turn around their mind and heart and toward the Buddha's promise and they receive it, you see, the Buddha's vow is coming to you, right? Because of you, because of me, it's coming to me. You just naturally receive it. Thank you very much. Is that what it is? How great it is, right? So this is, when I read it, to me, it's big relief to me. So, having said so, out of the story of Ajatasatru, I see 2 layers of a spiritual transformation. I think that the number 1 is modern psychology can explain the first transformation, like empathy or moral injury or remorse. But the second transformation points beyond the psychology, which is more spiritual awakening that Shinran really wanted to highlight. So Ajatasatru's transformation began when he encountered Shakyamuni Buddha's boundless wisdom and compassion through that dialogue, and modern psychology call this intersubjectivity. As you might know, that this word is psychology term that shared space of understanding that emerges between 2 people through a genuine and encounter and communication and mutual presence, sort of intersubjectivity. That's I felt very much. And we are transferred not by ourselves alone, but through being embraced by immeasurable compassion coming from the enlightened Buddha, Shakyamuni. And sometimes Shinran's case is coming from the Amida Buddha's vow and promise toward us. When we hear the promise, our mind and that's settled and then embraced by immeasurable wisdom and compassion. So it shows how compassionate encounter can transform despair into a life of gratitude and benefiting others. In my view, that is the heart of why Shinran returned to Ajatasatru's story in the Kyogyoshinsho. It's not simply a tale of repentance, but a profound illustration of spiritual liberation through the Buddha's boundless compassion and wisdom. So this story, as I said, is human drama, and then still is very relevant to us living in the contemporary society. And then every time I tell about this story, is I try to explain that the nature of a human being, the side is, that particularly Pure Buddhism is sort of polarity. There's a Dharma side and a human side. There is always tension between. So the Buddha side coming to me and me as a person to receive a Buddha. But however, there is a tension between me and Buddha side always. Like Ajatasatru has also have a doubt about it. Should I go there? And then maybe Shakyamuni might be rejected me, right? But again, Jivaka persuaded him, and they went to see the Shakyamuni Buddha. So always polarity together, and there is a tension together. And particularly this story is going through that a profound encountering and in-person dialogue between Shakyamuni Buddha and Ajatasatru. This is how the Ajatasatru, even he doesn't have any Buddhahood, Buddha nature, he was able to be spiritually liberated. This is a wonderful story from Nirvana Sutra. I'm very happy to share this story with you. Thank you very much for listening to my message.
Thank you very much, Sensei. I always love the way you tell stories with a lot of heart and emotion and feeling. I've always admired you for that. I mean, when you teach the Dharma, it touches people's hearts. There's an emotional content to it, and I really appreciate that. So we'd like to open it up to any comments or questions you might have for Sensei. I was going to mention that, this story of this privileged, powerful family, I mean, it's not that unheard of. It reminded me a little bit of the Kennedys, Robert Murdoch's family. There's the show Succession on television. And, even in my family, we have a lot of politics and things going on. So it's not just the rich and powerful that have problems. I think Shinran's saying, we all can identify with this family turmoil in our everyday life as well.
Yeah, thank you very much for comment. Yes, doesn't have to be on my talk, and anything is fine. Open, there is no right and wrong. And yeah, I'm happy to see all of you today. It's wonderful. How many people came today? Wow, 23. How nice. Very nice. Yeah. And so every Buddhist is, I love this context because it's try to intimate, environment, and based on that sutra. But my mission is try to explain an easy way and try to communicate with everybody. That means you can just resonate and try to resonate you and resonate the story with all of you. We're all human beings sharing the same challenge, everyday life.
One of the things I also thought was interesting about this story is it was kind of okay if you kill your dad. Like if you're the prince, it's kind of okay to do a power struggle and overthrow your father. That's not so bad. But killing your mother is completely unacceptable in any circumstance. So culturally, when you read these stories, you have to kind of understand that that story took a really hard turn when he started to come after his own mother.
Oh, thank you, Linda. Linda said, what happened to the cousin who wanted to take over the Sangha? That's a Devadatta. According to the Nirvana Sutra, somehow, well, I think he fell into hell, I guess. I have to reread it again. But the Devadatta is It's a little difference between the contemporary. Well, the contemporary, Contemplation Sutra didn't say anything about Devadatta, but the Nirvana Sutra is just a sad ending of Devadatta. Yeah. Thank you. Is there any other chat? Thank you for being part of the Every Birth Level. You can find out more about Every Birth Code. Okay. Thank you.
Nancy said, during this story, I was reflecting on Jungian theories. Interesting that you mentioned psychology.
Yeah, psychology. Yes. I didn't study psychology at all, but there are some more psychology specialists. I can see it on this panel. But the word intersubjectivity, it really triggered me. It's sort of like, well, it's more like you feel the same, when I see that I have a meeting with a family who lost a loved one, and they come to me and talk to me. Sometimes the daughter talked about her mother, and she suffered a lot. I feel like I just feel very much I feel like I'm like herself. It's just like a moving toward his emotion, and that kind of feeling. And then during that, the dialogue, Shakyamuni was not really, didn't have any distance, right? It's just okay, Adjunct, is that what you did? But the problem is, instead of that, he jumped into the Ajatasatru's mind and heart. And what can I do for you? It's more like a very close, uh, you know, uh, uh, psychological sort of intimacy, I feel. So I sometimes feel like the same pain, same agony, same sort of anxiety of the people sometimes who come to me, particularly they went through a very difficult time after they lost someone. So I was very interested in this, the word psychology term, intersubjectivity. If someone who is a special area, can you explain about intersubjectivity, if you don't mind? I want to ask you something.
I'm worried that because I'm a psychologist, you're thinking that might be me, but I am not familiar with that. And I was reading your essay, um, Reverend Wondra, and I think you have a much better understanding of intersubjectivity than you're letting on. There's a whole lot of stuff in there about intersubjectivity.
One person asked, how well are these stories known in the wider Japanese culture?
Japanese culture? Oh yeah, this is a pretty it's well known, but not the contemporary people used to be. This one was a very famous material that the Buddhist minister shared during the Dharma messages or something like that. So used to be just like two rivers in one white path. That's a very Chantal's very famous parallel. The same thing. So this Ajatasatru story is a pretty well known in Buddhist world, and I think of the Japanese culture, but used to be it was introduced widely. Yes, particularly describing that human nature that everybody has, right?
I have a question about your slide with the beings who are difficult to save. At the top, it says Shinran's intention. And then you talk about the 18th vow. And so I was wondering, are you saying that, like, in Shin Buddhism, a big focus is on sort of that saving, like people being saved, or that all beings can be saved? Or I'm trying to make a connection between the beings who are difficult to save, and that you put Shinran's intention at the top of that slide. I was wondering if you could say what you mean by his intention.
Yeah, thank you. It's an excellent question. I said particularly about the 18th vow. 18th vow, right? 18th vow is a primal vow. In that Skavati Vyuha, larger Skavati Vyuha Sutra, there are 48 vows that Shinran's, even with a larger sutra, there is 5 different translations. So one of them is a larger sutra, Skavati Vyuha. Shinran really respected. That version has 48 vows. And among them, 18th is the most important. We always say that essential vow. So why essential? Because there is a disclosure, except I will liberate everybody except those people. Who are they? That means those people who made 5 grave offenses and then slander the Dharma. That's what the clause, special clause, was attached to the 18th vow. 18th vow is the only one who has that except. The rest of 47 doesn't have that kind of exception clause. So what is exception then? That means those people are out of luck? No, it's not. For the Shinran, this is a sort of a Buddha's request. By saying that exclusion clause is a warning to everyone. Do not slander the Dharma. Do not do any 5 grave offenses. That's the warning to other people. But again, even they committed those offenses or slander the Dharma, if they realize what they did and turn around their mind and heart, you will be spiritually, successfully liberated and welcome to the Amida Buddha's peace and bliss. That's what the Shinran's understanding. Yeah.
Anyone else in the chat or live? One of the things I like about these stories is when I read them, I'm pretty judgy about how bad someone is. And then they usually unfold their background and the causes and conditions of their life. And then I feel kind of guilty. You know, when you really understand where somebody comes from, it's a little bit more difficult to be holier than thou and very moralistic. And so I enjoy that in the stories too. You only see one side of people, and you don't realize their circumstances. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I wanted to thank Sensei so much for spending her time with us on Everyday Buddhist. She also taught many courses on the Buddhist course pathway, along with Reverend Ellen Crane and myself. And so she's contributed much content. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that please sign up for our email blasts. We have a blog that comes out weekly. It also lets you know about the next live event and when it will be held. And it'll also let you know when this is edited and posted up to our Everyday Buddhist YouTube channel. So that would be nice. We could stay connected in that way. So again, thank you all very much for attending. I'm going to show you a slide now, if I can find it. I'll be doing the next live event myself. Let me pop this up for you.
While Sensei is finding the slide, I just want to let everyone know I did drop in the chat the link to sign up for the emails through MailChimp. So it is in there if you would like to join us if you're not already.
Okay, there I am. This will be part 2 of the Get to Know Amida Buddha course. It's actually a course in Everyday Buddhism. It's number 13. This is part 2. We have part 3 waiting. This is a little bit different. It's a watch party. And part one was very popular. We'll get together and watch the third video presentation from this course, and then we'll open it up for discussion. And so this is another format that we use sometimes for live events. We'll actually sample a course and then have a roundtable and discuss it and share ideas. And so this focuses on what a Mita Buddha is, how should we understand him within the Buddhist tradition, and further examples from texts and images that are meant to touch our heart and help us aspire to follow the Buddhist path. So that'll be September 25th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So thank you very much. I hope we see you again on September 25th. Thank you, Sensei, again for your
much for having
presentation.
me. All right.